Danni and N-Put cruising through the airwaves. Transformers knowledge blast that never caves. Reviews so sharp they'll cut through steel. In the podcast world, they're the real deal. Jumping in the deep end, swimming with the best. Danny's got the info and she never needs to rest. N-Put's got the passion like a roaring jet. Together they make a mark you won't forget. Dynamic duo, never gonna quit. Taking over airwaves, super lit. Transformers podcast bringing the heat. Every single episode can't be beat.
Well, welcome to the state of the Transformers fandom. Why do you have a Transformers channel? I have no idea, but we'll get into all the nitty-gritty. Today, I'm Danny D. You know what the D stands for? And I'm with the N-P.
Well, I'll take it over from there, and I'll introduce me. You see how it rhymed with the letter T that you forgot to put in at the end of me, and how I brought it back full circle, G, because I just stole one of your words because I'm oh so magnifique. That's right, baby. It's me. It's that N-P-U-T. And you see right on your screen that I'm mobbing once again with Danny. Oh, delicious double D. What's going on, Jack? So we got a few announcements here that we're gonna go through real quick about the state of the Transformers podcast, or state of the Transformers fandom podcast. So we got our poll up. If you go over to Danny's Instagram, we got our poll for the episodes.
It's on YouTube and Instagram right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be on YouTube and Instagram. But you guys are gonna pick the episode that happens on the 27th. So 2 weeks from now. And this is gonna be. We said this. We've been saying this from the start of the show. We're gonna give you guys about 4 or 5 choices. And then, it's a poll. You know how this works. Whichever one gets the most votes wins. And that's what we're going to be talking about on the 27th. We're going to try and do these like fan vote things about once a month, once every other month, kind of depending on how it plays out, I guess, or whatever. But we do have one up right now over on Danny's Instagram. It will be up on my Instagram tomorrow, and it'll be up on our YouTube channels tomorrow as well, so keep an eye on that. And yeah, the show,
I was just gonna say,
the show's new day and time is Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yeah, back to the good times, because I find it better at this evening time because, more people are showing up, and it was good on the Monday, but just so many holidays fall on the Monday too, especially for me. It pushes everything, so this seems better. Yeah,
I mean, hey, it is what it is. Life happens, and sometimes we gotta move things around, but every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to be bringing the heat. That's what we're going to be doing. And
with our clothes on.
So what are we talking about today, Danny?
Well, we're just breaking it down. I think we had how do you want to explain it?
Iaconis Prime, I think his name was last week. Shout out to him because he's actually the one who gave us the idea for this episode. Why do you have a Transformers channel? Why indeed? Why not? Dare I say, why not?
Yeah, like why? What started creating the content? What keeps you going? The passion behind the Transformers focused channel, I guess. That's what we're diving into. Why we do this, why we're here, why we're running our mouths.
So what got you, what made you sit down one day at Starbucks and go, gee willikers, guys, I think I'm going to start a YouTube channel about Transformers.
I think I don't want to go into the huge part of it, but I think everyone, I was one of those people, man. I got up the AVGN buzz, and I've had a background in went to film school and stuff, and I started collecting retro games just because it was cool, I guess. I don't know, I got out of a 9-year breakup. I was really down, so I was just so lost looking for anything. And I started doing video games on YouTube and Twitch video games, but I kind of fell into my real passion once, like I had toys in the background when I was streaming, and then I talk about Transformers, and I started watching Transformers channels, and I was like, toys are what I've always loved way more than video games, because it's more imaginary to me. You can make your own stories, make your own characters. So and the gaming scene, especially like 9, 8, 7 years ago, being like the way I'm living, like people are just cruel. And when I got into the toy stuff, you can't really make fun of people collecting toys, because it's like, oh look, you're this way living, but you're collecting toys too, so I mean, it's a pretty bad look. So I just found the toy people way more accepting, and then started doing my own reviews, just trying to figure out what to do. And then I stumbled. I mean, you reached out to me at one point to get on Tails, and that took me off. It just kept me going, and you know what I mean? Like, I'd never looked back. Like, that was all those people you vouched for me, all these other people accepted me, and I just love it. I love the community. I feel like it's where I fit in most. I've tried to branch out to some other action figures and stuff, but it just doesn't work on YouTube for me.
Yeah, and at the time, I was just reaching out to anybody and everybody for that old show, and just because I've always liked talking to people and picking their brains and just kind of seeing what they're all about and stuff like that. And so I was like, man, I wonder if she wants to be on the channel, whatever. And and it was like, hey, she says yes, she says yes, she says no, is what it is, because for every one yes, there was 75 no's, right?
Yeah.
So and here we are today, right? But my channel kind of it's kind of like, I started off as I've said this before, if you caught my live stream with Ultra Megatronus, it started off as a gaming channel, not necessarily a rant, but a discussion channel about what was going on in games and stuff at the time. And I think Walmart at the time was talking about taking in video game trades and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I would discuss, why that was a good idea and bad idea and stuff like that. And then I just kind of stopped, and it was really weird because I got really good viewership on those videos, really good. And I was like, okay, I'm bored. Because I didn't want to force the topics or anything, so I realized if I wasn't going to force a topic, right, to talk about, right, then it really wasn't worth talking about, obviously, right? So so I let the channel. I think the only video that's still up on the channel is my my Konami Metal Gear Solid Konami piano intro, right? And that was part of it, so but I mean, that's what it started off as. And then whatever, 8 years later or whatever, I was like, man, I don't see anybody when they do Transformers reviews, they don't really go into the character and stuff and why they like that character, why they bought the figure and stuff like that. So my early reviews were that, it would be a 45-minute review of not only why I bought Galvatron, but why, Galvatron is such a cool character, why I like Galvatron, stuff like that. And just giving history of the character and and doing it that way. And then it was just basically to share, my love and passion for, I don't want to say the brand, because but for Transformers in general, right? The stories, the cartoons, everything else. And and kind of echo what you said about action figures and toys and stuff over games. Games were always there in my life.
Same, yeah.
And I had the games that I absolutely loved. Streets of Rage 2, Sonic CD, the list goes on, right? But in terms of being that guy who sat down, you know, and you know, stayed up till, you know, 5 o'clock in the morning playing Final Fantasy 7 or whatever. Like that wasn't me until like mid-20s or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. What's up, Mr. Jones, man?
Jones, cell phone tones.
He says, let's talk about my 3 favorite Transformers, the best Transformers: Prowl, Jetfire, and Jazz. I can't disagree with that. That's a good list. That's a good top 3. It really is. But yeah, so then, you know, the channel became what it became. And I think, you know, I still, and I won't say I think, I still have a lot of passion and stuff for the brand, for, you know, for Transformers. Let me put it that way, right? And I get really upset the way that companies treat it, because it's something that I love, and I don't like seeing it essentially spit on, you know, by the company that owns it, right? So that's why I sometimes get heated with you know, when it comes to Hasbro and their decisions and stuff. So
bringing the heat.
Bringing the heat.
But that's why we love you. That's why this is what we're doing. And like my whole thing too, like, yeah, I love hunting for the toys. Like I said, I only have 2 Walmarts and the Toys R Us around me, so I can't go every week to, like, you see these other toy hunters, because there's just nothing for like weeks on end. And I'd love to, because it's fun to be out there and vlogging and stuff. But that's one huge thing I love to do. I just can't do it that often in my area, because there's like one new specialty store, but they don't have a lot of Transformers, or you know. And then there's this, like, the other part to it, like, you know, I can't put the energy and time into making reviews like I used to. Like, if I could come up with a new way just to hang out and show some stuff off, but like, you know, we got a topic coming up about that too. Like, who still watches reviews? Like, do you watch the whole thing? Do you just watch the, you know, the discussion at the end or whatever? Because who has time to like take 100 shots and, you know, I get like 100 views on there. It's just not worth my time, you know. And I don't really watch very many reviews anymore myself. But I mean, it's still like fun to you know, talk about a toy and share it. Like, even if you're not doing a full review, even just a short one is always cool, just to get some perspective on it, and just to say, like, you know, how yours was. Did it have QC, or was it good? And it applies to all types of toys, right? So that part of it still is fun. And then, you know, just seeing where this has come from, like, you know, from like what we used to do on Tales, and you know, I kind of miss that outlet, you know, because like, yeah, like, you know, we only represent ourselves. It's only our perspectives on this show, but we still are the Transformers fandom, because each individual makes up the fandom. So, I mean, you know, and it's just our perspective. You can, you know, like at the end of the song says, like, you know, if we offended you, sorry, but like, it's, you know, people's perspectives change day to day as well. So, you know, don't take it as hard, but like, you know, we're just here to, like, you know, we're both emotional people, like, in a good way, and we're just here to like share our thoughts and perspective on this. And, you know, just another outlet. You know, there's a lot of people on here doing a lot of the same stuff, and there's a lot of people that won't actually say the truth, and, you know, sometimes N-Put says too much the truth. I'm just kidding, but you know what I mean. You know where I'm coming from. It's just, we're just here to like share another perspective and angle. I love the brand too, like, in the sense of old Hasbro. I love the G2 era. I love the G1 era. I love a lot of it. You know, I still like some stuff today, you know, but, you know, like you said, we get let down and this and that, but I'm, you know, we're here just to, you know, trying to give another perspective, another, you know, another way to look at it, I guess.
Well, and I think, you know, the way that people watch reviews, you know, when you look at a lot of like the older reviewers and stuff, like excuse me, like MGO and I'm drawing blanks, man. I'm sorry, but Mr. Jones knows a couple. Mr. Jones, who's some of the old OG heads for the Transformers. I can't think. I could see them on. I could see their faces. I can hear their voice. I just can't think of their name. And anyway, like MGO and stuff, like they used to do like these 30-minute reviews, and that was kind of, you know, kind of cool. But I think people, but I just think I think people just kind of got away from, you know, 30-minute reviews, because you used to experience the figure. It was always Pia. There we go. Pia's an old school one. Thank you. And that's the one I was thinking of. And but you know, people nowadays, they want to be, they want to, is it good, is it bad? And they want, like, they want it, they want a quick, like a quick review out of it, right? They don't want to sit there for 30 minutes anymore and
Oh,
watch this review, right?
yeah, especially when everyone's posting it around the same time, right? And it's just it kind of gets like,
Yeah, and that kind of presents a problem too, right? Like within itself. Because if you get 15 people talking about the same thing, right, it kind of dilutes it or oversaturates it or whatever, right? And it also kind of maybe plays make certain reviewers maybe think about the figure a certain way. Maybe they wouldn't think of it. Maybe what I'm trying to say is, like, if they initially thought the figure was bad and then go watch somebody's review, now it's a good figure, so their review might be a little tainted or whatever, because of all the saturation and everything for it.
Like confirmation bias. And then there's also like, and some people just own those spots, like the M-Goes and like even the Bobby Skullface. Like I'll go there to watch a third party transformation, especially if I have the figure. Bobby will just watch it because I'll laugh my ass off because he gets like mad sometimes. He's like taking things. What's
Bobby's unbroken streak at right now? What, 3 days or something?
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
He went like
funny,
200.
Right? Like, yeah, it's funny. Like, I'll actually watch a whole one of those like third-party ones just to see, right? And I'm like, laughing my ass off at some of it. But like I said, and there's sometimes I'll watch another person's review just out of the blue because I don't watch them as much anymore. So I'm like, okay, this guy's reviewing like a new mainline figure, and I haven't even watched any of it. And I'll just put it on, like just to watch someone. But like back in the day, I was trying to keep up with them all, and like you said, you just kind of get burnt out. Then what you put one up. Like I said, we'll break into that more too, but it's just it's part of having a channel. It's this part of the thing is too, like, where do I go with my channel? I mean, without this podcast now, this is bringing in all the new people for me and all the new watch hours, and that's why I'd like to expand to do something. But like I said, I can't do toy reviews all day every day. They don't. I mean, or can't go to toy stores all day every day. They don't have shit. And then I'd like to do some sort of like at least like tell people I like the figure, experience the figure. I've watched a couple of the channels that kind of do what I want to do, but I don't want to copy. So I know everyone copies with the reviews and another hand channel, but it's just hard to know, like when to dip your feet in or what, but even this was intense to get going. It took us almost like a year of talking about it before it happened. So.
Right. Well, as far as like the hand channel thing goes, like it's kind of difficult to get away from that because you have to just, you got to showcase the figure, right? So, you can use like a Lazy Susan to spin it, but like, there's just as many Lazy Susan channels out there as there are hand channels, right?
Yeah.
But Mr. Jones says, yeah, I'm friends with a lot of toy reviewers, but I rarely watch their reviews anymore. I just buy whatever I want and deal with whatever issues and form my own opinion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way to do it now, because Ninja Bill touched on it up above him. He says there are way too many who, because of their sponsorships they have, makes them less honest because of that in terms of their reviews and stuff. Totally. And I don't disagree with that. You have...
And just the idea of people thinking they're going to get sponsored down the road so they won't say anything bad about Hasbro or like any QC issue on any toy, it kind of stops them from being an honest reviewer because, for me, it's like, I'm going to say whatever, man. I'm showing my body parts on the internet. Like, Hasbro's not going to sponsor me anyway.
And for only $3.99?
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm not worried about getting sponsored and I don't want free shit. I got too much shit. But you know what I mean? It's just, I'm not, I know, but it is good. It does taint it, right?
Yeah. And as far as like, if I wasn't working at the toy store now, I would probably just be doing those shorts. Mm-hmm. The awesome toy gimmicks and stuff like that, right? Like that. Sure. Like,
even what Hunter said here, it's true. I moved to shorts because of being short on time. Yeah, but those get hundreds of views and a 10-minute viewed video review doesn't get much. Yeah, it's the TikTok generation. Totally, like it's just
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I like I said, there's ways to do it besides shorts too. Like there's some people I watch now that do like full sit downs kind of. I just like it. But I just, like I said, I don't want to fully copy what they're doing. But I need this is actually get my views up, and I love doing this. I love having a Transformers channel, toy channel. But I need to add something else to it because I could start moving along now. And it's not about the getting whatever the memberships and all that, but it just I can see it moving around. It's just nice to see growth with the views, growth with the comments, growth with the subscribers.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Ninja Bill, shout out, you know what, for real, shout out to Ninja Bill. Ninja Bill is probably one of the unsung heroes of the Transformers fandom, legit.
I'm trying to get him on a Danny and Friends too soon. So.
Yeah. But he says, yeah, I am honest. I do not care if I get sponsors. If I do, fine. But I want to tell it like it is. That's why people like my stuff. I say what I see. And that's what a review is supposed to be like. And, and that's kind of the thing too, or one of the things, right, is like, if somebody doesn't like a figure and somebody else does, that's captivating to me. Because
same.
Oh man, I want to know why, this person doesn't like that figure and why this person does, and it's the exact same figure. It's the same color scheme. It's, not a, reissue or whatever. It's the exact same figure. And
yeah.
And in both reviews, and both reviews can be right,
Yeah. Comes to perspective, right?
Yeah.
It's just nice. I watch stuff I would never buy, just just to see what some people will say. And I'm not talking about full reviews. Like I said, I've come across channels where people are they're actually just doing what people do at the end of the video, give their full opinion kind of statement, but they're doing that at the beginning of the video, and they're not even transforming it, or maybe they'll transform it and cut to it later and just talk about it. But in other toys too, they're just kind of giving their actual feedback. And it's not like they just unbox it oh, it's so cool, look at it. These people have actually opened the toy, spent time with their own time with it, transforming it, whatever have you, playing with the figure, whatever, right? And then they get on there and they give you an honest or it seems honest enough, actual how they enjoyed the figure, it's cutesy, or if they just enjoyed it totally, right? It's a more in-depth opinion, it's not just fresh out of the unboxing or whatever, right?
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, as far as reviews go, and this is this isn't. I feel like articulation in a Transformers review should always be there, because the Transformers articulation can be very hindered by its kibble, right?
Yeah.
So so a reviewer showing the articulation or whatever, that's fine for a Transformers review. But I feel like at this point, if I'm watching Marvel Legends review or something, right? We all know how they move, bro. We don't need an articulation section in a G.I. Joe Classified or something like that, right? Yeah. If there's something that stands out that's new or different or something like that, then I can kind of see okay, oh, this butterfly joint wraps around the entire arm and it's an extra 90 degrees or something. Okay. But you don't have to go into oh, this figure's got an ab crunch. We can we can see that, right? So
the buckets is what it is. Yeah. The Transformers are each usually they do repaints, but a lot of them are built differently, so it doesn't make sense. Jimmy does say shorts dry. Jimmy G in the place to be from Ultra Megatronus's gang. One of our pals. Such a weirdo I am. Sorry, but he says, shorts drive the subscribers, long form drives the hours. That's what he's found. Yeah, and it's good. You kind of have to have that mix in there. You still have to have the long form content of some sort. Jimmy G does really good reviews, though. I watched him do the Voltron. He's got hundreds of Voltrons, but one of his Voltron ones before, right? And it's just the way you do it, the style, right? He's just got to bring people in your own way. It's fine to still do these reviews. For me, it's I gotta bend over, take these pictures. I gotta make sure I'm ready for this podcast.
And for only $3.99 a month,
I gotta run around the whole town, fucking buying bone crushers and scalping them, right? So it's like it's for me to get the time to, you know what I mean? I got like so many over in that corner, I could get them, but you know, it just you know, you have to know what to put your time and effort right now. Yeah, I miss doing some of the reviews. Some of my G1 reviews actually got good feedback and good views, but you know, it's just if you have the time and can do it, right? I know these people got kids and they do it. That's what I'm amazed at, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think finding time is probably the most difficult thing because I find that like a lot of this kind of bleeds into like personal lifetime, like, you know,
Yeah, it
personal
does.
life and stuff like that, right? Where it's just like, man, I don't want to sit down, I don't want to edit, I don't want to film like for me, I got to pull out the tripod, I got to, you know, set up the camera, I got to film, and then I got to edit, and then do all that stuff, and it takes maybe about like hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever, right? And to film the review, edit it, make the thumbnail and everything else. And you know, like that's an hour and a half that I could be doing something else, you know, that I find more enjoyable or whatever. That's why if you look at my reviews now, it's like they're 5 minutes long, 10 minutes long, you know,
and that's great.
And that's it. You know, I don't go into like the history of the character or anything anymore either. Because if I mess up, you know, if I stumble or whatever, and then I got to stop the camera and then do a retake and all this stuff. Right. So,
yeah, like I said, I got to run around the whole city scalping people and, you know, doing my other stuff. So it's tough. But like I said, some of these, like Jimmy G and what's his name, Hunter on there had, you know, they got kids and a family, and they're doing putting a lot of work in. But like you could see, like Jimmy G, his channel grew so much in the last little bit since I'd even known him from Martin and watched him before. But he's putting in those extreme hours, you know, and he's like, you know, just crushing along. Like, you know, I think hit 5,000. He's got all that stuff. So it's cool to see, you know, if someone actually put in the hard work and actually it's going well, right?
Well, that's the thing. That's kind of what I was getting at. Is that if you enjoy if that's your you know what you enjoy for your YouTube channel, like making reviews and stuff, by all means, 100% do it.
Oh hell yeah!
For me, if you guys look at the shorts and stuff, for me, the shorts on my channel, I love action figures, man. I really do. Whether it doesn't really matter, you know, the era or where they're from, or what, you know, what part of the world they're from, the era they're from. Like I can always find just about anything in an action figure that I enjoy. So if you like those shorts, and I think it's true, I've been told that you could see or hear or whatever the level of love or excitement that I have just for toys in general in those shorts, because I always find something, you know, something, oh, it glows in the dark, you know, or like that's so cool. Or,
like my weekend, I didn't know that glowed in the dark, but yeah. Then Jimmy G just says it's time. You know, time is tough for sure, right? Because you got responsibilities. But for most, this is a hobby for me and a bit of therapy. That's why I say this is why we both do the channel. It is therapy, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it like I said, we all have we all escape differently.
Totally.
You know, so no, for me, I think at this point, you know, it's no secret. I just go in the garage, you know, tinker on the cars, and you know that, you know, and it sets me free, right?
Yeah,
it frees my mind, so the rest will follow.
yeah, follow me to be free. But yeah, no, like it's like, you know, even like when I think about when we're planning this show, you know, it's, you know, that's why I love doing it, because it's like, you know, it gets me stoked again. I haven't been stoked on doing this stuff in a long time. Like, you know, I wanted to rework in some of the more like, you know, I guess, you know, safe for work content, this kind of crap, right? It's fun to do. I love the passion for like the figures and the Transformers, and it's fun to get on with people. Like I said, even getting on Ultra Marcus's channel, Ultra Martin, God, I can't even speak, but, you know, getting on Martin's channel refreshed a lot, getting around new people like Jimmy G and a whole bunch of people like Norbs, like you can't name everyone, but you know what I mean, like just being around all those new people, and you know, even if I'm not saying much while I'm there, it just kind of gets the sparks going again, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And sometimes, you know, we need uh we need to find that spark or whatever to, to help,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh push us to do whatever it is that we're looking to do or whatever. Like you said earlier, it took us a year just to do one episode of this because
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about it for
Originally.
forever.
Oh yeah, like
Eh,
that phone call turned into a podcast. Like we were talking, like you know what I mean, like around as much time we talk on here, and just saying this kind of same stuff, like over, like just like we should do this, we should do that, we should get on there, you should just do it, yeah. And it did take a long time for me too. I have to have so much of the setup to get to commit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mr. Jones asked me, he says, N-Put, that's me. N-Put, did you order the Sonic and Tails transform? Okay, first of all, please tell me somebody got that reference, right? Like I'm not the Oracle can't be the only one who got that reference.
I don't know, man. I'm blonde, so it's over my head.
No, I didn't order the Sonic or Tails that 2-pack. No, I did not. Um I did see it, like it doesn't Sonic use the punch counter punch mold, I think, or like he's been heavily retooled from that mold, I think. And then Tails, I don't know what Tails Tails might be his own.
Tails from Teletran. I'm kidding.
But 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 man, they do look cool though. We'll say
Yeah,
Sonic and Hedgehog
they
crossover.
do. I
They look
know
pretty
someone was
decent.
saying Shadow as the car or something, and Knuckles as this and that would be cool. So yeah, that's neat. Where they could go with that. I mean, yeah, Shadow and Knuckles would be really cool. Unfortunately, this is what Blue Raccoon says. Unfortunately, support from collecting is rare, especially growing up. Family of faith. Yeah, yeah. I mean, people just don't see. They think you're wasting your time not growing up. People don't see the potential behind toy collecting. Like, yeah, some of it can turn into hoarding. You just have to, I hoard, but you just gotta have to manage. But there is a part to it that's very creative, very, style. Like you just have a thing for art, and like there's so many levels to it, really, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too,
See you later,
when
Jimmy G. Thanks for everything. Take care. Yeah, that's what it's about. Sorry.
it's all right.
Yeah.
I think, but I will say, I think it was easier to, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how I want to phrase this, right? But it was easier to be a toy collector before social media, YouTube, and all that stuff really kind of blew up to the level that it is, when it was still an underground thing, right?
Oh god, yeah.
Like when people would still be like, "Oh, you collect toys? Well, what's that like?" or whatever. Now, you type in toy collecting on YouTube, and it's like, 9 gazillion channels pop up, right? So, point is that when you are able to keep it underground, it was easier to, I guess, like, to hide from everybody. Now it's like you buy a figure and it's like, well, why'd you buy that? Like people start to poke and prod and whatever, right? Which would be a bad thing. So
Yeah, but yeah, like it's just like I said, we're just here. Like I said, I'm just not going anywhere. I love doing this, love hanging out with you, and like I said, like still, like I keep saying, oh, I'm gonna do something else. I always say that, but I think I will eventually. Like I said, I just have to nail it down. I really have to feel it. I don't want to commit to anything that like I don't see some potential. That's why I committed this. With lots of potential, and it's just fun to share. This is why we do it. I want to be a loudmouth on here, and like I said, you can't take everything we say super serious all the time. Like like people's opinions change day to day, moment to moment. So don't have hurt feelings. We're just giving our perspective. I love to hear your perspective. Start up your own channel. Stop asking to be on this show.
wait, what?
I'm just rambling. I keep getting people like, "Can I be on the show? I'd love to." I'm like, no. Watch the show.
No.
No. But yeah, no, I'm just being silly. But yeah, no, like this is what I hear. I'm having fun, having a blast with you, having a blast with everyone in chat. This is a better time to do it. Obviously, we got everyone jumping in, and this makes me happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what it's all about, man. You got to find your little corner of happiness in life, right? Blunghole says, I remember collecting back in the 90s. There was a real shame in collecting at times back then. Stares from cashiers, parents side-eyeing you in the toy aisle. It's almost more comfortable today. And I'll say this, I totally get where you're coming from with that, because I've always been a kid at heart. I've always been a big kid. And I'll tell everyone out there an input story. How about that? Story time with input, baby. Somebody get that reference, please. So me and Oracle, about 2015 or so, in Target, Mattel had just released a old WCW ring, and it came with a Dusty Rhodes, baby, right? and I thought that was the coolest thing. And this was, like I said, 2015, so 10 years ago, right? So here's this 30-year-old man at the time in the toy aisle, like super stoked to see this Dusty Rhodes with this wrestling ring and stuff. And I was like, yes, dude. Yeah, I can't believe he comes with the ring. And I was so excited. And I look at the price and I was like, oh man, okay, maybe next time. I didn't have enough for it. Yeah. And so I put it back down. And this kid, he was like maybe 7, 8 years old, was with his grandmother. And I heard the kid ask his grandma, was like, why did he act like that? Why was he so excited over a toy or whatever? And his grandmother was like, unfortunately, some people never grow up. And I was just kind of like, I was taken back. I was like, wow, man. I don't think, like, I'm not going to, I didn't say anything because I just brushed it off. I was like, whatever. But I was kind of like, man, maybe that might be the wrong message to send your grandkid, right? Like, because at a certain point, you're cutting off the imagination, right? That creative flow of the brain and stuff. You're like cutting it off, but
yeah. But the thing I can say to that too is like, it makes me laugh because I see people now in the toy aisle with a kid and like, or there's kids in there. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing in here? You can't afford this shit. Move along. Same for you, bro. Yeah. And it's true. Like every parent, they're asking for like a $7 Jurassic Park figure. And the parent says, I can't spend that.
Yeah.
In this economy and this, they're not buying, no one's buying their kid a $35 Transformer.
Yeah, wait till the kids start asking for those $260 Titans.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I said, like, I see kids, I'm like, what the hell are they doing in the aisle now? And it's turned into that. It really has. I know people, like, thought it was weird before, older people in there. But, yeah, like, the stigma, everything's flip-flopped. No one can afford the toys.
Yeah.
Kids over a certain age just want to be in the video game aisle anyways. But, yeah, that's why we're here. If you want to wrap it up or...
Yeah, we can close it out, baby. We can go ahead and do that right now, Jack. Just to recap what we said at the beginning of the show, going forward, the show will be Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you're not that good with time zones, that's okay, because I got you covered, baby. When I post it up, you hit the reminder, and it sends you a reminder right before the show goes live. So you click the reminder, and it sends you straight to us. So if you suck at time zones, that's okay. Just keep the reminders in mind. Put a reminder on your hand. Put some ink on your hand. Say reminder for reminder. Okay. Put it on the fridge. It doesn't matter where you put your reminder for your reminder, as long as you have a reminder for your reminder to watch us every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah. Also, we got a poll for the 27th coming on. We're doing the poll now. The poll is up on Danny's Instagram page. It will be up on mine tomorrow. It will be up on our YouTube post area tomorrow as well. You guys get to decide the episode for May the 27th. That will be live that Tuesday, May 27th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And in case you forgot already, that means you didn't write your reminder down on your hand for the reminder of the reminder, and you should have done that, Jack. So go ahead and do it now. Get a pen and put it on your hand, because ink, as they say, is permanent, baby. And, I don't know what else to say except for...
Lenny.
You'll see me next week mobbing with Danny Double D.
Yeah, we'll be here. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Like, try to give an insight of why we do this. Just remember, be yourself. You know, it'll shine through. And yeah, just, you know, have the passion. Stick with it if you really do it. Don't do it to impress people. Don't buy shit to impress people. Just buy what you like, share what you share, do it your own way, and, you know, just have a blast doing it. Until it's not fun, then hang it up. We'll see you next week, Claire.
Thank you for joining us. It has been a pleasure. However, we must now conclude the program. We appreciate your viewership and apologize should we have inadvertently disrupted your evening. Please do not take any offense.